Hey guys, my name is Max, and today I want to share with you top investing apps for 2021 which are completely commission free. Now let's get started. So in 2020, I invested $500 into each of these apps myself just to see how I enjoy the app, how I enjoy interacting with it, and to see out of these four apps, which ones I will keep investing my money into and which ones I invested in once and left it for good. Now, the reason why I did this is partly to get some free stocks, what you can also do yourself by checking out the links down below. Lastly, if you enjoy learning about finance and this isn't the first video of mine that you have watched and you're still not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button to show your support, and I would really appreciate that. Now, with these investing apps, I ended up implementing a completely different investing strategy as well. So I wasn't just testing the investment apps, I was also testing myself and what kind of investor I want to become and what also gave me the highest returns at the end of the year. So we'll definitely talk about that towards the end of the video. And right now, I want to get started with the first app on the list, and that is Robinhood. So for Robinhood, my strategy was to invest into the most riskiest stocks in 2020, and that would be all the stocks that were near bankruptcy. So that would be the airline stocks. Now looking at Robinhood here, let's pull the app up. All right, so as we can see here, the main thing that they highlight is the returns of that day, which is not necessarily what you want to look at. You want to look at 1 year return because you want your investments to be long-term oriented and not short-term oriented and panic sell your stocks. And over here, we can scroll and look at the shares that I currently own here. So not a whole lot has happened with this account since the inception. It definitely went up a little bit in value, but I didn't invest any more money into it just because I didn't like the app. I didn't like how there was no numbers associated with the graphs. It was very difficult for me to read. And yes, you can scroll left and right to see what's going on here. But all in all, I didn't think that this was the best app for me. However, this app is really good if you are just getting into investing and you want to keep things as simple as possible. You can go ahead and purchase index funds on this app. You could do fractional shares on this app. You can do cryptocurrency trading, even though it is not safe and it's not insured. Your stock investments and index funds are definitely fully insured up to a certain amount. I think it's $250,000 that you hold in the account. So it's definitely a good app for an absolute beginner. Having said that, it is not the most up to date when it comes to trading. So let's say there's a huge bull rush into something and you want to buy a stock as quickly as possible. It doesn't give you the most current updates. There are delays. However, if you're a brand new investor, that's definitely not something that you should be considering anyway. Let's click on Delta Airlines here and we can scroll through looking at the average cost was 24 and so on. Total return is 62% for the year, which is nice. But at the end of the day, I did buy this in April, so it is understandable to see 60% returns. I should have definitely invested more in technology companies at this time rather than companies such as the airlines and so on. And that's definitely something I ended up doing on some of my other accounts, and that was a completely different strategy. But for this strategy, I wanted to focus on the absolute bottom of the barrel, so companies that are completely struggling, and see if the return is justified by the risk that I took investing into these companies. If you're interested in dividend investing, you go to your profile here and you go to statements and history. Here you can see my dividend payments that the companies have paid to me. So all in all, you can see not a huge lump of dividends here, but I was really surprised to see $10 dividend from ICHGY. All in all, this app is really simple, really well designed, but I did not like the lack of detail that I had basically to research companies. I like to do some of my preliminary research on my phone when I have some downtime and later go on to Google spreadsheets and do all of my number crunches there. But initially, I want to see if I'm interested in the company and I want to look at the data on the phone while I have some downtime, and Robinhood simply doesn't allow you to do that. The next app we'll be looking at is Fidelity app. And in my opinion, out of all the apps that we're gonna cover today, this is by far the worst design for an app. It's extremely difficult to navigate even if you have been using the app for a while. So I find it really frustrating. I don't think the information is given to the user quite clearly. You have to dig and scroll and move things out of the way. It's very confusing. So this is definitely a investment platform that has been around for a really long time. They've actually been around for 75 years, and they had to take their brokerage accounts that are completely on the web and move them to an app platform. And they haven't done that quite neatly yet. It hasn't been done really well. So this is a perfect platform to hold some index funds. And because it's so awful to navigate, it actually encourages you to not sell your index funds at a moment's notice or anything like that. It definitely helps you to stay away from selling because you don't want to go on this app and you don't want to use it, you don't want to navigate it. But at the end of the day, should that really be your problem? And should you just get an app that you like using and you like navigating and you like looking at stocks? Perhaps. But I use Fidelity to hold my index funds and some other plays that are in my Roth IRA. And as you can see already, this app, just with me filming this video, is already buggy. It isn't loading. If I go into my accounts, it doesn't want to load the accounts. I slide over to positions. It says, sorry, currently you don't hold any positions. So there's definitely issues with this app. And I just happened to show here where I'm filming. So definitely not a good look for them at all. All right, let's look at some of the other features. They do have some features that I really like. If you go into markets, it actually gives you a summary, and then you can scroll down and look at the active movers for that day. You can also look at the sector performance. This is something that I really enjoy because I hold sectors in one of my apps, which we'll talk about towards the end of the video. And those sectors have done really well. And what I basically do is I invest based on how I think the sector will be performing. So here, if I see that a sector has moved down significantly, I'll pick up a little bit of that sector in that app, just because sectors will recover. It's just a matter of time. Now, coming to my second favorite app of all time is WeBull Finance. I love this app due to the graphics, due to the pie charts. It encourages diversification. It makes it very simple. And when I said I invested in sectors, this is exactly what I meant. Is I built this portfolio based on sectors. So I did e-commerce, technology, energy, banks, and so on and so on. And I split it up into sectors, and I was investing by sectors. So on the news, you'd hear that energy sector is down, bank sectors are down. So I would pick those up, and I saw really high returns in really short time. So some of these returns are from September, October, actually. So if we look at e-commerce, technology, manufacturing, energy, transportation, real estate, banks, retail, consumer, airlines, health, international, and emerging markets, all of those have been my investments from September, October, roughly. And then all of the other ones that are held not within them, but outside, were investments that I made in April. But getting back to the app here, I absolutely love the app because you can make pies inside of pies inside of pies. And that is really helpful because what you can do here is if we click on e-commerce here, you can see how I'm holding all of these companies within here. And that in itself is a sector. And you can see how each of these are performing. You can say your allocation within that pie. So whether or not it's 10% or 15% for that particular company, and each pie makes up 100%. The only limitation with WeBull Finance is that you can't have more than 100 holdings. Now that is not a crazy limitation. It makes sense why they do this. I would prefer that the limitation was 500 because essentially you're building your own index fund here of companies that you truly believe in. I absolutely love that. I've enjoyed WeBull Finance a lot, and that's why you can see that all in all, I've invested roughly $9,000 into this account and saw 2,500 return on it. So that's really good. And I just really like this app. It's really clean. It helps me invest in a organized manner. And I can simply automatically invest in each of these sectors. I can simply invest in this entire pie if I want to. And another thing to note here is the companies that I strongly believed in, I put a higher allocation toward, and the companies that I believed less so, I put a lower allocation towards. And as you can see here, those allocations are the ones that are the worst performing, just because I wanted to have some exposure to it. I wanted to understand how it's gonna go. So as you can see here, Zoom at 1% moved down 27% and so on. And I think this is just a super healthy way of investing, to invest in a little bit of everything. And the companies that you believe in the most, give them higher allocation. The companies that you believe in the least, give them lower allocation. And as you can see here, this is the performance that I've had with WeBull Finance. This is a completely different strategy from all my other strategies. This is different from Robinhood or Fidelity. And it's going to be completely different from the one that I've implemented in the last app that we'll be talking about. And it has been doing really well for me. But just like Robinhood, this one has very limited information for you to follow, but it is way better than Robinhood in every single way, in my opinion. It encourages you to diversify. You can actually follow other hedge funds on here. It's very well designed. I never had issues with it. It always works, and it always takes the emotion out of investing, which is my favorite part. By investing in the sector or investing in a pie, you can also invest directly into an entire fund. If you want to, you can follow other hedge funds completely free for no expense ratios or none of that. All right, last but not least, my absolute favorite #1 app is WeBull Finance. I love it for many reasons, but the main reason is they give you so much detail and they give you so much information when it comes to investing and researching the stocks that you're interested in. And that's why I fell in love with this app. So when I invested $500, I definitely kept investing into this app a lot more than into other apps. I even ended up investing into this app more than WeBull Finance, even though I think that's an amazing app. WeBull gave me a lot more flexibility because WeBull Finance only lets you trade during the morning. So if I want to place a trade at any point of the day, I found myself always using WeBull, and this is why I bought all my individual stocks. So let's take a look at the app and what it looks like and talk about it a little bit. So looking here, there's a few tabs to go through. Over here, you got your watch list, so you can scroll through that. And it was a pretty dark day on Friday when the market closed, so everything's pretty red. So going away from this, clicking on markets, it gives you a quick review of how the markets did on that day. So here you can see the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and NASDAQ. You can also see how many decliners versus how many advancers have been. And I really enjoy having this information. It also tells you the top gainers, the top losers for the day. It also tells you the most active, so which stocks have seen the biggest volume trades of the day as well. Other really nice part is you can actually scroll to the crypto market here. If you just go to the right, so shows how Bitcoin is performing and all of the other ones. You can also see global, all over the world, seeing how every single stock market is doing. That's also really interesting to me. You can look at Canada and how they're doing. Then you can log into your own profile and you can sort 6 months, year, 1 year, similar to Robinhood, but I enjoy this platform a lot more just because you get a lot more details on the graphs. You get a lot more detail information per individual stock. And the main reason why I prefer this app is solely due to this one thing here. So if you go into any of these stocks, so if you go into this one here and you go into quotes, you actually get full information on the stock. You get a lot more than you would get on Robinhood or WeBull Finance and Fidelity. So here you get advanced charting options. You can do various indicators, which Robinhood doesn't let you do, WeBull Finance doesn't let you do. So it's really cool to learn about all of these indicators and actually make a trading decision based on the indicators. You can flip to the right side to get the latest news. So here you get the latest news on this company and everything that has to do with this company. You can read through comments, which I never really look at because you never know what people's intentions are. And then you look at analysis here. So based on 9 analysts that are covering this company, so far they're saying hold it, don't buy or sell it. And then you can also see analyst price targets, similar to what you get on Yahoo Finance. So it's really nice to have all of that information here on the app, so it's completely accessible to you at all times. You can scroll to the right again to get the press releases. So here you can get all the different filings from the company, whether that be quarterly, annual reports, and so on. You can get the financials, so you get the EPS and the estimates, just vast amount of information. So if you're looking for the most information possible, this is definitely the app for you. If you're looking for the simplest thing possible, probably Robinhood is the way to go for you. And if you're looking to do index funds and build your own index funds, WeBull Finance will probably be the best choice out of the apps that I'm talking about here. And there are many other apps out there. These are the most popular ones, but I felt like I can only talk about these ones just because I personally spent a lot of time on them. I personally use them a lot, and I know how each of them has been going for me, and I wanted to share my personal experience rather than covering reviews that somebody else did. It just didn't seem fair to you guys. So I definitely wanted to share my own experience with you so that you can make the best decision possible. And lastly, I want to mention an honorable contender, which is Acorns. Now, I don't have that one, so I didn't want to cover it in this video. However, it is a very popular investing platform where it rounds up your purchases basically and uses that money to make an investment for you. It's very controlling over your investments, so that's why I never picked it in the first place. I wanted more control over my investments. And picking your own individual index funds is more control than Acorn gives you. But the bottom line is get an investing app of some sort, get a brokerage of some sort, and start investing in index funds. And if Acorns make it simple for you, definitely go with them. However, they will charge you a monthly fee. I think it's $1 for the most basic plan. And if you want to avoid all fees at all costs, definitely stick to these free apps here, such as WeBull, Robinhood, and WeBull Finance. These are great apps for all the different types of investors, all the different strategies that you can try that I would highly recommend you check out. And you can pick up a free stock or a free credit, links down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please smash that like button if this was at all helpful for you. I'll see you next time.